featuring Professor Ken and Reek in the Lion's Den.
Okay, the fall from grace. You're built up so high. Your talents are recognized, but then one thing comes about, and now you're such a bad person, and everything you've done has been dreaded. How does one see this? How does one avoid this if they can?
But the fall from grace, it goes back all the way to Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley was a big time celebrity. He was one of the biggest of all times. You know what I'm saying? He was a big time TV celebrity, and all of a sudden, he started using drugs, and he died of an overdose. So did the brother Bob Marley. So did Prince. Prince died of an overdose. So a lot of people, that's famous and they have a fall from grace, sometimes it be drugs. Drugs can be, the antidote or the thing, the stimuli that they use to, replace the pain that they have of not being famous, or that urge to do it again, or the urge to be as successful, and, you look for some type of relief, and sometimes drugs can be the relief. In the case of Bill Cosby, you know what I'm saying? They accuse him of being a pedophile, of being a guy who drugged women to have sex. If that be true, then, sex can also be something that we use in order to, balance ourselves, to make us feel whole, make us feel like, I'm still the person that I am. I still have this power, to have power over women, can be, one of the ways that we use, as celebrities and as powerful men and women to kind of like make us feel whole again. And sometimes that can cause a fall from grace, but the best example we can use is R. Kelly. R. Kelly, world-renowned, 10 hits back to back, 10 number one hits back to back. Each one of his albums was platinum. He had platinum albums, consistently. He was touring all over the world, very successful. Women would die just to be next to him. Women used to fall out, throw their panties on stage when he used to come on stage. He was a very sexual entertainer. You know what I'm saying? He expressed sexuality in his music a lot. And he could have had any woman that he wanted. But according to the media, he was alleged to be a pedophile. He was allegedly he was having sex with young women, and he was using all type of mind control mechanisms, and just having them call him daddy and all this stuff, And they said that he married Aaliyah, illegally. I don't know. You've seen the trial. There's a whole bunch of allegations that was made against him. But at the end of the day, it still led to a fall from grace. So if these allegations were true, sometimes people in that status or in that stratosphere, they get to the point where they're not whole anymore. You can have any woman that you want, but except for a minor. Because that's illegal. Breaking the law or crossing those barriers, do that make certain people think that they're powerful because they can go and they can stoop down to that level, and mess with underage women? Is that one of the reasons why people fall from grace, because they don't feel powerful at the normal level where they can be accessible to women in wholesale numbers where women just love you, but you can't be accessible to young women? So, you want to break those barriers, you want to cross that line because you feel that this makes you feel powerful because you can break the law or you can do what you're doing. All this leads to a fall from grace, and a fall from stardom. Michael Jackson, he said on TV, this is not my words, I'm quoting Michael Jackson, he said he liked sleeping in the bed with young men. He liked feeling like a kid. He liked playing with them because it makes him feel like a kid from a childhood that he never had. This is what Michael Jackson said. But to the average person, you know what I'm saying? It's absurd.
Right.
It's a pedophile. It's a behavior of a pedophile. So now he's being demonized because he have this fetish or this thing that he like to sleep with kids and play with them and take them over to Wonderland, you know, and have fun and give them a life that he never had, an experience that he never had. So to the average person, this is a bad thing. But it led to his fall from grace. You know, people stopped buying his music. People stopped doing anything, you know, with him. You know, so it's important, you know, that, you know, when you're a celebrity and you're a person of stature, that, you know, that you don't go outside the norm and do things that you need to do to get attention. Because a lot of times when you think you're getting attention, actually what you're doing is you're getting accused. You know what I'm saying? When you're getting the finger pointed at you, you know what I'm saying? People start talking about you, you know what I'm saying, in a negative vernacular, which could cause your demise. And that's what happened with all these gentlemen I just spoke about. You know what I mean? There's drugs, there's sex, sometimes it's power. You know, I mean, in the case of Donald Trump, you know, they said that Donald Trump allegedly, you know, would call people and tell them, hey, can you do this favor for me? Can you do this favor for me? And these favors was considered illegal from a political standpoint. You know, he told the governor of Ukraine, you know what I'm saying, hey, look, I need you to find some paperwork on Joe Biden's son. You know what I mean? That was considered illegal. You know, he, you know, called the governor of Atlanta and told him, I need you to find some ballots that were stolen. You know, I need you to show that I actually won the race. So power is another thing that can call you to fall from grace. You know what I'm saying? And right now, as we speak, he's being investigated. You know, so one thing that we can't lose is we become celebrities and we become stars. We can't lose our normalcy. We got to still function and think normal, like a normal person, because if we try to think outside the box or we start thinking from an exaggerated standpoint, you know, it can lead us to the fall of grace.
Okay, so what do you think about, you know, Bill Cosby being acquitted, and the reason why he was acquitted because they went in some documents that were sealed. They went ahead and, you know, submitted those, and essentially that was against, you know, the Constitution of them being able to do that. Do you feel that was right? Do you feel it was wrong?
Well, one thing that people got to understand is the law, you know, and there's certain things that you can do under the law. Now, as law enforcement, as a police officer cannot enter into your legal property, you know, if you're the legal owner of your property without a search warrant. If they enter into your property without a search warrant, everything in that property at that point, whether it's guns, pistols, whatever, you know, so at that point, you know what I'm saying, that becomes, you know, it becomes an illegal search and procedure. So it can't be used in the court against you because the guy, the police officer, the law enforcement illegally entered into your premise. So, you know, that automatically throw the case out. So a friend of mine, he was in his car and law enforcement pulled up and he was getting out the car. And the police said, no, get back in the car. And they found a gun, so they placed him in the car. Even though he was not in the car, they placed him in the car. And they charged him with the trigger lock. So he had a woman to go to court, and she went to court, and she said it was his gun. It was her gun. So they went to trial. The district attorney put the young lady on the stand, and he actually said, "This your gun, then let me see you use it." So fortunately for my partner, she knew how to use the gun, so she used the gun, and essentially what happened, he was acquitted. It was his gun, it was his car, and everything. But see, in the court of law, they got to find you reasonable. They got to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, because the young lady was presented into the equation. There was doubt put in there. You know, another case at hand was a guy, he committed a murder. and the guy who he killed, the body was never found, right? So the judge, and the jury was listening to the case, and they adjudicated. They went through the jury trial. So his defense lawyer asked for one more request. He said, "Can you give me 30 minutes? Because the person who my client is accused of killing will be walking through this door in 30 minutes." So the judge said, the district attorney said, "Well, this is absurd. I want to see this. Yeah, we'll give him 30 minutes. Well, what the district attorney did was he created doubt. So now that guy got acquitted because he said on the grounds that neither one of us believe that this man is dead, because we allowed him 30 minutes to come in here and check and see if he was going to come through the door. Automatically, my client should be acquitted." And the judge said he acquitted him because it was doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in the case of Bill Cosby, right?
Right.
He made a plea in deposition that, he would divulge all of the information if he received immunity. So they gave him immunity, they said that they would not use this against him. And so what happened was the district attorney, who's currently on his case, decided to use that evidence. Now, he probably would have beat the case had he not used that evidence, or he may have not beat the case. But the fact that he used that evidence automatically killed his case, just like the illegal search and procedure. It was always double jeopardy. You can't trial a man twice. They already, went through the deposition, whatever he gave, the money, whatever, it was a lawsuit, it was over, it was in civil court. So you're going to charge him in civil court, then you're going to come back and use the evidence from civil court, then bring it back into clerk court. That didn't, or magistrate court, whatever, so it didn't register, so they had to throw the case out, so in the case with R. Kelly, they're going back and they're getting old information and they're bringing back old witnesses. In that case, it's a little bit different because he didn't have a civil case, so a lot of people, that was involved in R. Kelly's case, they basically becoming material witnesses. Mm-hmm. So basically they using them as an example of his current behavior. If he did this in 1999, it's a possibility he might do it in 2021, that this is a pattern of behavior with this gentleman, and he has a propensity for acting out in this manner. So because of that, they were able to use material witnesses and circumstantial evidence in order to convict him, and it was so mounting, where, even though the people were actually there, even if it was hearsay, it was nothing. It was so much of that hearsay. It was so much mounting circumstantial evidence that it was convicted. And you said about him, since he being convicted when he turned over on somebody. Well, anytime somebody faces life, they're gonna try to, find a life raft. Whatever they give them, as a way to, deduce his sentence. He may go for it. And if he got anybody to throw under the boat or under the bus, typically, that's what people do. I'm not saying that to be the case with R. Kelly, but at this point, unless he depended on a appeal, he don't have another choice but to do what he got to do. And those people that's in his orbit, I would advise them to be lawyering up. Right. If he can, give the district attorney any evidence that could, be detrimental to these individuals. You know what I'm saying? But R. Kelly, man, he must have thought, that he could beat the case, because normally, man, when somebody got those many charges, they typically make a plea bargain. But it's either the plea bargain was life, with no parole. He had no other choice. It was so much time that he felt that he had to take his chance with a jury trial. But the good thing about it, though, is that somebody might come along in the future that feel that, that a lot of this stuff, was preferences. You know what I'm saying? You know, because when his lawyer, R. Kelly lawyer, was arguing that it was a preference that these women, were starstruck and that they were pretty much going, after him because, they was trying to pursue their career and they were willing to do whatever, it was a favor for a favor. But at some point you got to use your discretion and say, well, I could give this person a favor, but this person have to be of age because the law is the law. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, no matter what the intentions was of the person pursuing the career, it's still certain laws that, they said nobody above the law. If you and I did the same thing, we'd be in court for the same cases. So, it ain't just no R. Kelly thing per se. Whatever he alleged to do, whatever they're accusing him of, you know what I'm saying? If they said that he broke the law, that is the law. But whether he innocent or not, you know what I'm saying? That's something for him and his lawyer to prove, you know what I'm saying, that he's proved his innocence. But, I'm not here to, I'm not here to convict R. Kelly or to, give him an acquittal. What I'm saying is that, a lot of people, when they involved in that type of situation, you know what I'm saying, and they're involved in the law, you know what I'm saying, the law varies from individual to individual. Like in my case, they offered me 7 years on a case that was a misdemeanor, but they enhanced the case and turned it into a 20-year charge because they wanted me that bad. So a lot of times what the district attorney do is they enhance these cases and they make them bigger than what they is. And if you go to trial, you're facing so much time that it's simply no way you could win, But who knows? If R. Kelly is innocent, maybe his lawyer could go back on appeal like Bill Cosby did, and he might be found, not guilty, or they might find that the prosecutor did something that was not right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but I'm not here to say guilty or not guilty. I'm just pretty much speaking on, like you said, the law.
Right. I would say this too, because I think a lot of people get hung up on what they call it, the court of public opinion. So when he kind of did that interview with Gayle King, a lot of people thought certain ways. Do you think that was actually a benefit or not a benefit to do an interview like that?
Whenever you're accused of anything, whatever you say will be used against you in a court of law. It's always best to keep your mouth shut. Your lawyer will tell you that. So young people listening, I hope you never get accused of anything or alleged of anything, but, the best way is always to keep quiet because you got to remember that they got to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And once you open your mouth, you shout it out and you remove all doubt. You know what I'm saying? So when you remove the doubt, you don't have no recourse. You know what I mean? If you study talking and saying, I ain't do this, or I was only friends with them, a lot of times, if you got a good lawyer, your lawyer could take you completely out the room and say, my client was never there. Prove it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But if you say, yeah, I was there, but we were just smoking weed, I didn't have sex with that person, then now the jury can place you at the scene of a crime. And the district attorney, once you get placed at the scene of a crime, it's hard to say that you ain't had nothing to do with it.
This is my book, The Art of Human Chess. It's a bestseller, New York best time seller. And this book here sold millions, sold all over the world, all throughout the prison system. This is the book, The 48 Laws of Game Pimpology. Make sure you get these books. If you don't want to buy the hardcover, if you don't want to buy the paperback, then the best thing to do is go to iTunes on your cell phone and type in my name, pimpinken, and I guarantee you the book will pop up. If that don't work, go to audible.com, type in my name. If that don't work, go to amazon.com, type in my name. Anywhere books are sold all over the country, you can get my books. These are my bestseller books. You hear people talk about them all the time on Instagram, on Snapchat. These are definitely some good reads. Please get my book. I guarantee you that you will never be the same. Your life will be impacted, and also your life will be enhanced just by getting these 2 books, The Art of Human Chess and The 48 Laws of Game, just like the 48 Laws of Power, just like The Art of War.
Too cool to count 24/7.